Well, I nearly got away with it without making a cock of it. We are on the air now at 9:06, which is rather later. We normally get cracking at 8:30, but it isn't because we either slept in or we got stuck in a traffic jam or anything. As I've been recording two shows with Richard Barton and Philip Meredith, two former, one active barrister now, and the other a former barrister, and they are discussing various cases, and it's quite amusing. But it did take up our airtime, so we missed our news slot, which I'm going to do now, because later in the show, it's a very active day today. We've got two interviews on top of those that we've just done. One is with let me see, is with Professor McGill, who is an expert on witchcraft, and he's going to actually, because she's got an interest in it, Melissa Conte is going to interview him from New York live, I may say, and let's see, Malcolm Gaskill, a professor of early modern history and a leading expert in the history of witchcraft, Salem witch trials and all that sort of thing. And then following that, we have a live with Claire Barrett, who's the consumer editor of the Financial Times and presenter of its Money Clinic podcast. She is going to appear at the Speakers Festival, the Lewis Speakers Festival, and very appropriate. Her book and her talk will be with everything that's happening in terms of the cost of living. So that's why we're a bit late. Not a bit late, we're half an hour late this morning. But now we will take a quick run through of what's happening in the world of news. And there's now a new inflation warning, and the Eye is the first paper up to mention it. And we'll just take a look at what the Eye has to say about that in a moment. I'm just quickly looking through to see what pictures we have. And not many on inflation, I'm afraid. So here, let me tell you what the Eye is saying. Thursday's economic news. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has admitted that it's not automatic that the government will meet its pledge to halve inflation by the end of the year. The paper also says there is pressure on him and Rishi Sunak to cut taxes in order to alleviate cost of living pressures on families. So the key issue remains inflation, cost of living. It's gone to the background a little bit with the question of the coronation and one or two other key things that have happened in our society. But generally speaking, inflation has not gone away and has not been conquered. The Mirror is interest rate pain. It's not over yet, says Andrew Bailey, and he is the boss at the Bank of England. Higher rates are yet to be fully filter through to households and the economy. The bank has warned, estimating that just a third of the impact has passed through so far. It means homeowners on fixed rate deals will feel the impact when it's time for them to renew rather than now. So down the track for some of us, real problems with inflation. The Times. Food prices are back on the way down. Now, these are things that we don't always understand, is if food prices are coming down and inflation is up, why is it that we could expect the cost of living to become an issue? I suppose really is that while food prices may be on the way down, is they are not the driver of inflation at the moment. And that therefore inflation is going to continue to kick at the highest level, at the highest ceiling, while food prices, perhaps we might see some reaction in the stores, but don't hold your breath. The stores have used inflation and cost of living to actually boost the prices of quite a few things. And just because it's the wholesale cost is coming down, it doesn't mean to say that the supermarkets and the retailers are going to necessarily pass that on to us. The Daily Express, wrong, says the Express. How can we trust the Bank of England when its predictions on recession, unemployment and inflation have so far been wrong? The Daily Express say some economists have attacked the bank for its inaccurate predictions of how the economy would perform. The paper says the blistering criticism comes after another day of bad cost of living news for the country. There you are. It's all bad news, I'm afraid. Cost of living and all sorts of other things. And I'd forgotten, in fact, about strikes, and I shouldn't, because the trains are on strike again today. Another continuing strike action where nothing has come of the negotiations between the government and the unions. So we're in for a continued bad ride, even though the weather is beginning to improve and making us feel a little bit better. The Daily Telegraph, go back to work and we can cut tax by 2p, it says. Well, this isn't a union thing. This is a question of working from home. And a government minister tells the Telegraph he wants to see people who left the jobs market during the pandemic return to work. Mel Stride says there are 400,000 fewer workers now than there were before COVID. The Work and Pension Secretary says the government will have more freedom to cut taxes if the labour force swells. But, you know, when people start to get used to a certain way of life, it's changing them. It isn't just a question of saying, hey, okay, it's all up, away you go. So we have some problems there as well. The Sun, it's not been easy for me or Holly. Well, I refuse to sort of get involved in this. If presenters of television programs fight, that's entirely up to them. I know that Annie Verrill and I, when we presented Mirador Television, and particularly Break an Egg, is we fought like cat and dog, but we didn't let anybody know outside our ring, as it were, our bout centre, that we were pummeling one another's brains out. Actually, it is only partly true, but nonetheless, what happens in show business can stay in show business, as far as I'm concerned. Now, we've got two papers, actually. We've got the Metro that says that there are proof clause exists, and it says DNA from fur found after a sheep attack definitively evidenced predators and show that they are roaming our countryside. So investigators think they found DNA proof that big cats roam the British countryside. The findings come from a new documentary called Panthera Britannia Declassified. Beyonce, whose Renaissance world towers begun, is the main image on the front page. Well, so you either take your choice of either Beyonce or a leopard, in fact, a jaguar, a big black jaguar, but endorsed by the paper that always brings a smile to our face, the Daily Star. DNA tests on hair proves that Black Panthers are roaming around Britain. The Star also leads on the purported new evidence of Black Panthers in Britain under the headline, Gotcha. Even more tantalizing, a trail in the top right-hand corner of the front page promises free witches spells inside. Why everybody's getting excited about witches, I don't know. But in fact, at 11 o'clock this morning, or 10:30, I'm sorry, we are going to have a witch expert and talking to Melissa Conti. And that should be fascinating. And even more fascinating is the witch expert is going to be at the Speakers Festival in Lewes this coming weekend. And where are we with that? Let's see. Gaskill, Professor Malcolm Gaskill. And he is on deck at... here we go. Saturday, that's tomorrow at 12:50. And that's Professor Malcolm Gaskill, who's a professor of early modern history and a life folktale teller of witch hunting. And he's concentrating on a remote Massachusetts plantation where the witches really got going. So that is more or less what we got in the front pages this morning. Let's see if we can also, yes, what can we expect outside? We can expect a high of 14 degrees, a low of 8 degrees. It started to move up. It is now, right this very moment, 10 degrees with mostly cloudy, but the courthouse has got some light, so there is some sunshine out there. And tomorrow it's going to be mixed. Sunday is going to be a glorious day. A high of 18 and bags and bags of sunshine. Now, is there anything that we should pay attention to on the local scene? Anything important enough? Let's see. Well, this is Sussex Live News. A Sussex dad was left with that black eye after being punched in an unprovoked pub attack. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It keeps on happening. Some of these, the unfortunate thing is that it seems to be more and more violence in the streets post-COVID, post-lockdown. And I'm not sure that the police are necessarily reacting in a way that they really should. But now there's a new warning issued for storms. And the Met Office has issued thunderstorm weather warning for Sussex as a weather map shows the likelihood of rain. It is down in Brighton and Eastbourne and Lewes. It doesn't look too bad, but in Uckfield and Billingshurst and Hazelmere, not Tunbridge Wells, but Crawley, all look as if they're going to get a real pasting from the weather over the weekend. So do watch out. Be very careful. Anything else? A man arrested after a teenage girl sexually assaulted on a Sussex bus. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's mostly it for the weather. It's now 19 minutes past 9. And we are going to, normally we would be off the air from 9 to 9:30, but we weren't on the air from 8:30 this morning. So we've just done a rundown of the major news points. And here we've just taken a look at the weather. So we'll be back at, somewhere, I would think, about 10 or 15 minutes. Wow, it is all go this morning. It is all go, believe me. So we look forward to seeing you again in 10 minutes and some interesting interviewees and some interesting viewers in some instances. Oh gosh, oh golly. Let's shall we say we shall. We shall not. We shall not. We're going to say a toodle pip and